So, instructional struggle is essentially to help students become independent. And as of right now, in another class, I'm also having to write a research paper. And so, when I was looking at stuff, I found that every grade level varies because not only does everybody work at a different pace, you have to modify things because nobody learns the same. So when I was researching this for my project, it kind of showed it was for ELL students, and it kind of goes the same for grade level as well, because lower grade levels, they're still developing a learning in the first place, and for higher grade levels, at that point, kids have their learning process. So at that point, you'll have your fast learners who can pick up everything right away, and then the ones that it takes a good while for them to understand. So with grade level, like for kindergarten, everything's better in a hands-on strategy. So a lot more of activities and sometimes group work. Group work can be a lot more tedious to work with when it comes to younger grades, because at that time they're learning to be more social, and they're learning and they're meeting friends, and they don't understand sometimes when to talk and when to be loud and when to be quiet, and sharing the spotlight and things like that. So also, when I was doing research for my project in my other class, it showed that things like health education, the best strategies would be group discussion, service learning, and role playing. So with health education, it's a little bit more of a hands-on, well, actually it's a little bit more less of a hands-on, it's more of a almost kind of textbook. And so whenever I was seeing that, it kind of showed that service learning, though, is the best way people learn health. And then with math, which I thought was interesting, was something we talked about before in class, which was the productive struggle. Because with math, a lot of times, for a lot of learners, they do have to struggle it out. They do have to push themselves to the answer. Because some people are almost like human calculators. They can get it right away. But with that productive struggle, they really push themselves to that answer. And it's just something that has to have a meaningful task in general. Because if a teacher is rushing to figure everything out, it's much harder. It's really something that has to be planned out and takes time, because with productive struggle, it's just harder to, you can't just write something on the board. You do have to give that background information. And like with giving them develop understanding, you really have to set high goals, but also give them room to explore options. Because with a lot of teaching, teachers believe that the way they teach is the way it has to be done with math. But really with math, the way math works, every kid has to be able to find how to get the answer their way. Because the way the teacher teaches it might be super hard for a child to understand, and they just need to find their own way to do it. So, yeah. That's how I thought of instructional strategies.